All right, let them know with Joe. Episode number 008. We got Amber. What's your last name?
Jackson.
Amber Jackson. Let's get some coffee because I need some coffee. I've been working all day.
What you got today?
If you can you pour that into the cups?
For sure.
While I explain what we're drinking. I got Chromatic. We had that last week, but this is a different one. It's a Brazil dark roast. Tastes like baker's cocoa and brown sugar.
It smells so good.
It does smell really good.
How much do you like?
I'm good with that. It's from San Jose. I guess Chromatic is
Local
San Jose. Yeah, I bought it from Whole Foods. So they have a lot of local brands there.
It smells so good.
Wow. That's great. I love it. I love coffee. Like, did you always drink coffee?
No.
No? When did you start, or how did you start?
So both. We had kind of talked about this before, but sometimes I'm sensitive to the caffeine. So I'm not like a everyday coffee drinker. Okay. Just when I have the taste for it.
Okay.
Like the craving.
But you enjoy the taste?
Yeah.
That's fire. So do I. I never enjoyed it before, but I guess it just kind of grew on me.
Yeah.
As you grow older, you grow more mature.
Yes.
So you can just say I'm very mature. Amber, where are you from? Are you from the Bay?
I'm not. So I grew up in the Midwest.
Okay.
Kansas City, Kansas, not Missouri.
Okay, Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes, so I'm a Midwest girl. Yeah, born and raised there, went to undergrad there, and then went to New York after.
Wow,
was there for 6 years.
What university was it?
University of Kansas.
Come on. So are you really into like college sports?
So, okay. So
talk to me. Tell me.
When I was there, I was super into it because you're at the games, you have the players just walking everywhere in your classes. And then once I graduated, I kind of dropped off.
Okay, but do you watch sports at all anymore?
Not as much. Not as much.
And you did run track. Did you do that in college or just in
I didn't do it in
school?
college. I did it in high school. I probably could have done it in college if I'd gone to a smaller school. Or I wanted to try to like walk on, but I went to KU and I just fell in love and I was like, I'm going here.
That's fire. I never went to like a university here in the States.
Yeah.
I kind of regret it. I kind of don't. Cause right when I got out of high school, I went straight to be a mailman.
Yeah.
So it was cool. I made mad cash at 18 years old.
That's awesome.
I was making at least like $22 an hour at 18 and 19 years old. Yeah. So that was pretty fire.
Yeah,
in the small town Texas. Yeah. So it's like, cool, let's do it. Living with my parents. Yeah. So it was fire. But we had a university there. It was a private one. Uh-huh. And I saw every year you have new students coming in and all that. So I'm like, man, I kind of wish I was doing that too. I never did it though because I hate studying.
That's
homework.
Real.
I hate all that stuff.
I think there's value in all different types of experiences too.
Yeah.
So it was I had a great college experience.
Sure. I feel like I would have a great college experience too. Yeah. But
it's also not for everyone. That's not the only way to do things.
True. I did go study in Australia.
At Hillsong
College.
I didn't do that.
Yeah. That was fire. Not too much homework. When we did have homework, it wasn't that bad. So it was cool though. So born in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes.
How was that? Did you enjoy it? It was a small town. How big is it?
So I grew up in suburbia. Okay. So like cul-de-sacs and neighborhoods and trampolines in the backyard. My bad.
Did you have a trampoline?
I did.
Nice.
I loved that thing. No.
You know that game?
No, we never played that.
So what you would do is you would be rolled up as like an egg. And then you'd have everybody around. They'll be jumping.
Wait. We did play that, but we didn't call it that.
What'd you call it?
I don't know. Oh. Just played it. Trampolines are dope though.
But you would do the water sprinklers underneath, I assume.
Okay, that one we never did.
I never did that.
Dang, we did it wrong.
Yeah, I didn't have a trampoline, so anytime I went to somebody's house and did it, that was fun.
You knew what to do.
I knew what to do, but I never had one, so
Dang.
I lived my life through them.
We missed out because we didn't do that.
What did you just jump?
Yeah. Or like try to do flips, you know,
fair.
back flips, front flips, or like see how high you could bounce your friend.
Did you have a pool?
I didn't have a pool. And then we just, because I actually lived in a cul-de-sac. So it was just a big circle. We just ride bikes around. We had friends up and down the street. So we were just in the streets all day playing bikes, games, in and out of everyone's house type of thing.
I love that. I miss that so much. Like, of course, generations and things change, and now you have a lot of social media and you have video games and all that stuff, which is cool. I don't see anything wrong with it, but it's just that whole like riding your bikes and you leave it in front of the house, and then everybody's in the house getting like, the mom is making some snacks and you're having like something to drink, and you're like, all right, cool, I'm out. Let's go back outside and just go somewhere else.
Smell like straight outdoors.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love it. Did y'all get thunderstorms over there?
Yeah, we did, but like I wouldn't say super common or anything.
See, in Texas we got thunderstorms all the time.
Yeah,
I loved it though, because I was talking to somebody today. I was like, I miss thunderstorms because like it'd be sunny outside and all of a sudden clouds come out of nowhere, thunderstorm, hailing. It's great. You smell the rain on the grass and all that. Those summer storms.
It's just like memories.
It's the best. It's the best. I miss Texas, but I don't miss the small town.
I mean, that's real. I couldn't say like a number, but I would say even when I go back home to like visit my mom, I always wonder like who I'm going to see at the grocery store.
Right.
So it's small enough for that. But I liked the way that I grew up. Yeah, like I liked the neighborhoods and all your friends lived in the neighborhood and the school was down the street, and I thought it was a good way to grow up. I think leaving Kansas kind of put things into perspective about maybe how small-minded or kind of just insular it was. Like when I went to New York, it completely opened up my eyes. I was like, oh wait, this is what like a diverse world or city looks like.
It's crazy.
That's
so crazy because like same for me. I mean, my town is kind of like 24,000. It's called Plainview, Texas. And
what was the closest like big city?
Lubbock. Yeah, you know Lubbock?
Okay,
that's
I've heard of it.
Texas Tech.
Yeah,
that's where they're from. But even then, it's like 110,000 people. They have one mall. It's not that big. Like the biggest like real city is Dallas, which is about 5.5 hours from where I live. And so we were 24,000, and there was smaller towns of like 1,000 around us, 500 people, all that. So they come to my town to go shopping at Walmart because we had a Walmart Supercenter there. Shout out to Walmart. And shout out to Chromatic. Someday maybe she'll sponsor us. But we do have a sponsor. It's JimmyHyde.com. He's one of my good friends, and he's a copywriter.
Did you know that there are over 171,000 words in the Oxford English Dictionary? Master copywriter Jimmy Hyde doesn't know anywhere near that many words. But the words he does know help businesses turn their technical sounding, boring copy into easy-to-read copy that makes them money. If you need a master copywriter, go to www.jimmyhyde.com and drop him a line or email him at me@jimmyhyde.com. Jimmy Hyde. He knows words, the best words.
So if anybody needs copywriting material, hit him up. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, Walmart. They're coming to Walmart to shop. But yeah, like I said, or like we were saying, I was very close-minded too. Like I'm a Mexican family and all that. So like with the Mexican culture, it's like family, staying with your family all your life and all that. So they're in Texas or they're in a small town. People just end up living there, growing up there, making their family there. Same thing with their next kids and all that. So it's like, and the thing is, no one knows any better. I didn't know any better. And then I decided to leave and go to Australia. Like I legit went to Australia from there. So it was a very big culture change, everything. But I loved it. I loved it. I love being able to see different point of views, different cultures, and then coming from there to the Bay. I mean, you got so many different cultures over here too.
Right.
So it's been great. I'm talking way too much.
No, I love that though.
So university there in Kansas, then you went to New York.
Yep. Straight after school. Yep. I went to work. So I work in marketing and advertising, And so New York is like the place to go if you want to work at a big ad agency. And so that's what I wanted to do. So I did that my full 6 years there and kind of bounced around to different agencies, worked on different brands, anything from like pharma to like diabetes brands to like consumer goods. So like Pantene hair care, Oreo, Nespresso coffee.
Wow.
So it was a really cool experience. I feel like I kind of grew up there.
Yeah.
Like young adult and also like career wise, I just learned so much. It is one of my favorite cities in the world.
I've never been to New York.
Oh, you gotta go.
I definitely plan to. Right now, I'm just kind of getting my life back in order, but next year, done.
I mean, this probably isn't the year for travel anyway.
That's true.
So yeah, let them bounce back too, and then you can see the city like in its full glory.
I want to go during Christmas just because.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Like I've seen so many movies, you know.
Yeah,
freaking
Home Alone.
Home Alone. You're just like, man, this is like the epitome of Christmas. Like you're just there.
Let's get ready for the cold, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love the cold. I love cold weather.
Okay, because I'm like, it's not Texas and it's not San Francisco.
Well, believe it or not, we get snow in Texas, in my hometown.
Yeah. Okay, like cold, like real cold.
Yeah. So, well, the thing is, because I was a mailman, so I was outside no matter what.
Okay. So you did that.
But so we get we'd get really hot but really cold. So we'd get to like maybe not as cold as New York, but I would say we'd get to like maybe 5 degrees or something, or 10 degrees. But then we have very strong winds. Mm-mm. So with the wind chill factor, it would be like -5 or -10, just because it's really cold with the wind. Like the wind is no joke. It's flat. It's flat land, so you just get a bunch of wind all the time.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Because I think the difference because Kansas is similar. It has all 4 seasons, super humid. And super cold.
We're dry heat over there.
Ooh, yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
But New York, you just walk everywhere, and that's the difference. Like at home or in Kansas, you walk from like your door to your car, and then your car to the next door.
Yep. So it's not that bad, and everywhere has AC.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Here we don't have AC.
No AC. I call my family, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so hot," and they're like, "You're a baby." I'm like, you're not sitting in 75-degree weather for like 8 hours straight.
And my place here, we're on the top level, so the
heat rises. Yeah.
I bought an AC, a window AC for my room.
I'm not mad. I
had to because I cannot sleep in the heat. I can't do it.
It's horrible.
I cannot do it.
I can't win.
Cool. We'll chat a little bit more about your career in a bit, but I wanted to chat with you about what about the dating scene here? How's that been?
Yeah, it is. So, just to level set, I feel like we're both in the same similar place, right? Like you're 30.
I just turned 30. Yep.
I'm 30.
Wow. Okay.
I turned 30 in March.
Wow. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, and I'm single.
Yep.
So I came to the city single, and I always compare it to New York. So New York everyone is super career driven.
Right.
So if they're dating, it's like a nice bonus. Like you're cool, but I got to get this money.
Right.
And if you stick around, that's great. But if you don't, then I'm getting this next apartment or I'm on this next trip. Everyone is like hustling. That's the culture. Here I feel like it's very different.
How different?
So even, for example, I'll see someone and I might be like, oh, they're kind of good looking or something. Married with kids. Like, what? In New York, it's everyone is so young, and I mean, someone my age would be single, and that would be normal. Versus here, I feel like people are definitely a bit more booed up, and they're kind of like open to that lifestyle, like dating and relationships. Whereas New York, they're just kind of like, if it happens, it happens. Otherwise, I'm having fun.
I feel like because there are a lot of people that are married, especially. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I guess for me, it's like, I don't know. Maybe because the only time I ever tried to like date anybody, I kind of keep it old school, is like people that I meet.
Right.
Like, how's that old school? But I guess that's old school now. It's like people that you meet somewhere. Excuse me. And, but I recently took up the apps, the dating apps. It's cool, but it's just like, I don't know.
I can't get into them.
It's very, you know, if you look good, cool. We're gonna try to see.
Right. It's very superficial.
Yeah, and it's like for me, I'm like, I don't know. I guess it's like I might look okay, but if you get to know me, shoot, I'm fired.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I feel like you're missing a whole piece of the puzzle, not actually getting to know someone and talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a hard time with the apps. I really can't do them.
Yeah.
I prefer to meet people, let's call it naturally, in person. You know, just at someone's like get together at their house or at church. Like church dating's a thing that's really new to me.
That's a whole nother level.
That's
of
something
like,
else. That's a big question mark to me. I don't completely get it, but
Christians are weird.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I've definitely been on a few dates here.
Yeah, how they been?
Overall good.
Yeah.
I've had good dates here. I would say maybe the reason they haven't worked out is really more about like intentions and goals.
Right.
So if someone's really into being more casual, then that doesn't really jive with where I'm at.
Right.
So then you can't really move forward.
Are you wanting to date to get married next? Would that be like on the I guess goal? Like, I guess for me, let me explain. So like for me, I want to start dating to hopefully get married soon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 'Cause I want to get married.
Yeah.
And so I guess when I'm dating somebody or thinking about dating somebody, I have that in mind of like, are they planning to want to get married soon? You know, are they, not that I'm saying like, oh, cool, I want to marry this person, but it's like in the back of my head, are they set up for that to want to get married maybe in the near future?
Yeah, no, I think I'm definitely on the same page there. Like I kind of have, the way I describe it to my friends is like, I wouldn't want to date someone. Okay, so think about a job, right? Like you get a job and imagine if you got a job and they said, well, great, you can work here, but there's no chance for promotion.
I'm out.
Right. Who wants that job?
So real. That's
so actually, I kind of think of that like as dating. If I were to meet you and you were to say, you know, with the goal that I have, no specific timeline, doesn't have to happen tomorrow, but hey, you're awesome. I'd love to hang out with you, but I'm not really looking for a girlfriend, or I'm keeping it casual. Well, there's no way for me to get promoted in this situation.
I hear that.
So that's not gonna really work out for me.
Yeah, I guess that's real.
But that's a weird conversation to have, right?
It is. I think the question is, when do you try to find out their motives of the relationship?
I think early.
Yeah, but how early? Is it? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I guess it'll come up naturally, I feel like.
Yeah.
For those that are really, I don't know. I
think it's early. Maybe not the first... you know, kind of hang out or whatever you want to call it, but very soon.
I think that's true because
2 or 3.
Actually, like that first kind of date, you're like, is this someone I want to have another date with?
Yeah. Right.
And then from there, it's like, cool, we'll get another date. And I think after 2 or 3 dates, you're like, cool, this is someone that I actually vibe with. Maybe there's potential there.
Yeah. But you got to factor that in, because then you're going to get in too deep, right? Yeah. You're going to be like, oh, they're so cool to talk to, or we have all these things in common, and you're not going to be evaluating that super important part. And then you're going to get too deep in and not even have some of those important pieces sorted out.
Who knows?
You just got to take the risk to be really weird and awkward.
And I think that's real. And I think sometimes we're too scared to, like, you know, maybe don't come off like, hey, do you want to get married?
Yeah.
But maybe like, hey, what are your plans for this relationship? Or if there's anything that you think about.
Yeah. Or honestly, like, take me out of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about me.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
about
like,
what your goals
want?
are, regardless of the person.
That's it.
So then maybe they don't feel as awkward because they don't feel like they're answering a question about you to your face.
That's real.
You know?
Take some notes, people. This is good stuff.
Yeah. But you got to do it. And I feel like the older I get, the less I really care about, like, cool points.
Right.
You know? And the worst case scenario is that I end up single, which I already am. And I'm actually pretty happy and comfortable in this place.
That's
so I'm
good.
not going to be stressed about trying to make something happen.
That's fair.
You know?
I get that. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and do you listen to any of the other podcasts? You know, just to let them know what y'all, right?
No, I love podcasts.
Okay.
Of course, this one.
That's fire. I listened to this one. It's called Hamish and Andy, and they're from Australia.
Okay.
They used to have a news radio show, but now they have a podcast, and they're funny. Like, they're hilarious. I love them. Like, they
saving for later.
Yeah. Like, they keep it 45 minutes, and it's like, I want more, because they're just hilarious. Like, they know how to keep it entertained. Anyways, they come up with this question, and I want to ask you this question because it was really cool. It's kind of insightful, and like, it can actually get real with this question. But they said, let's say the ghost of Christmas future comes to you, and they're like, hey, I want to show you how your future ends up. And it takes you like 50 years in the future. And this is kind of sad, people, but your life is just kind of in torn. Like, you don't have very many friends, and the friends that you do have, they kind of like feel bad for you, and they're just kind of your friend for that. And you don't have a job, so you're trying to get a job, and just kind of life just kind of sucks for you. If I were to give you $100 to bet on the reasoning why that happened in your life, what would you put that on? Like, I was saying, for example, for myself, same thing happened to me. I'd probably put $75 on the fact that I don't have a very good trust with people sometimes. So I think that might be a reason why I end up friendless and end up like maybe even not trusting my job and going from job to job or something, and just like not really relying on other people and having trust on people, even though they might deserve it. And it's just like, so for me, I think maybe my trust towards people, that might be something I would bet on. Yeah. What about, does that make sense, the question?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I would probably put $100 on one thing.
Talk to me.
And I think people can call this a lot of different things. You could call it intuition. You could call it the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
You could call it a lot of different things. But there are moments in my life where I get so much clarity about what I should be doing in that moment in time. Doesn't mean I know exactly where it takes me in the end.
Yeah.
But for example, I've worked at places and I'm like, oh, I'm so fed up with this place. Right. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to job hunt right now. And there'll be something in me that's just like, you need to wait, you know? Or maybe in those moments where you need to lean in.
Yeah.
Like, you got to speak up in this meeting,
right.
Or you have a point of view. You need to share it. You need to go above and beyond here. So I think in those moments, if I'm not listening to that intuition or you know, if it's the Holy Spirit speaking to me, then I'm definitely on the wrong path.
Right. So basically you're saying you would bet that it was you not listening to that voice kind of that you have in your head. Okay.
Exactly.
That makes sense. I get that. I get that. That's real. I think for me, one thing that I really... there goes my dad on his motorcycle again. It's really hot in here, so I want to make sure we have some windows open. But I feel like I'm really good, and I don't think it's judging, but I think I'm really good at seeing beyond somebody and knowing their intentions right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
I feel like that might be something that would hold me back too. I don't know. Because like, there's been times where I'm like, there's this girl that liked, or I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
There was this girl that really liked me. And for me, it was like, and she was like everything. And people are like, why aren't you dating her? Or why aren't you like do anything? And for me, I was like, man, I just can't put my foot on it or my finger on it, whatever the saying is. But there's something that I'm just not feeling.
Yeah.
And long story short, you go and you move forward, like you see what that was, and you're like, wow, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
You see like their actions at the end of this whole time are like, man, I was right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Has that ever happened to you before?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
1000%. But I think that's like, again, in the trusting in your intuition, because everyone else could be telling you to do something completely different, or like you're completely wrong, and you have to like kind of ground yourself in what you know, even if it's not like concrete. There's no facts, right? You didn't see them do anything. Right. And that has always worked out well for me.
That's so good. Yeah. I feel like we need to listen to more of that little voice in our head.
Yeah.
That says don't do it.
It's hard.
It's
like
very hard.
Peer pressure is real. That's like
it's
a corny
so real.
word.
And not only that,
you know,
a lot of my friends were peer pressuring me that I trust. You know what I mean? And it's like, but the thing is, people don't understand the way I feel, and I think that's like a thing you have to remember too. Is like they don't know what I'm going through or what I'm feeling. So it's like I get why they're saying this, but just understand. I know why I'm doing this, but I really don't know why I'm doing this.
Yeah, but like trust that I know.
Yeah, I got it. That's real. I was at work the other day, and we were having a team meeting. Well, I wasn't at work. I was in my bed on the computer at work, but working from home.
Work from home.
Yeah,
life.
it's great. You know, I found myself just not being able to wake up early anymore.
Oh, it's getting really bad for me.
It's getting so bad.
Even if I wake up, I'm like, but I don't need to be up.
Exactly. And so like work starts at 8. I'm literally setting my alarm at 7:30.
Yep. And
then I'll snooze it to like 7:55, get my computer, and then be like, got a meeting at 8, and we'll just kind of chat. But anyways, we're chatting, and we're doing like some kind of exercise about like asking right questions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my TL kind of like is like, okay, I want to like kind of be the person that y'all practice with the questions on, and we'll talk about like something in my life. And he went kind of real. Like he was like, I feel like I don't have very many like friends and all that stuff. And then someone asked, well, what's your checklist for friends? And that kind of stuck to me. I'm like, well, what's my checklist for friends?
Ooh.
And but then I thought about, do I have a checklist? And if I do, have I ever used it to find a friend? Because I feel like whenever I have friends, it's always been a natural thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, is there a checklist that I have that's mentally in the back of my head that... But then I thought about it. I'm like, well, I've had very many different friends that are like opposite of me and whatever.
Right.
So it's like, I don't think I have a checklist. I think it just, if we kind of like hit it off and we're great, then I think that you become my friend.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have a checklist? Have you ever had?
I don't have a friend checklist. I think the intuition thing comes in. I definitely look for something that happens naturally.
Right.
But I will say, I've seen this on both sides. So me seeing someone and being like, I want to be their friend.
Right.
And I've like pursued them as a friend. And I've also seen it in other people with me, where I will meet them and I think they're great, but I just like don't follow up, but they follow up and they're like, Amber, I told you we want to hang out. Like, what's up? When
you pursued them, how did that kind of turn out? Because I'm not trying to say like, I don't know, I'm very different, but I don't think in my time of living I've ever tried to pursue to be somebody's friend.
Yeah, I think that it still has to be mutual.
Right. Did it work out?
It did. She's my best friend now.
That's great.
And I think it was literally, I saw her and she had these amazing qualities about her that I saw that were lacking in myself. So I was living in New York and we were in grad school and she was in the class and she was so social. She was always kind of out doing things, exploring, like super adventurous. And I was like, well, I just go home every night. Like, I'm not really taking advantage of all this city has to offer. And so I just went up to her and I said, hey, I see that you're doing all these awesome things in the city. This summer, would you mind like me tagging along or just inviting me to some things? I want to see more of the city. And like, we literally just did every invite she sent, I would go to. I'd send her stuff.
That's so
she
good.
would come and like, we're best friends now.
That's amazing. So have you always... Like, do you see yourself as a, what do you call it when people stay home? Or like
homebody?
No.
Maybe?
What is it called when people are like, what's the word? Instead of being...
Like introvert?
Yeah, introvert, yes.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself as an introvert?
I definitely have to take time for myself away from people. Otherwise, I get really grouchy. But I also, it's a balance. I think I'm a little of both. I love being social and I love being around people and I love meeting new people. But I also have to recharge and I have to take time for myself. And you can't be.
Do you see me as an introvert or extrovert? From what you've seen.
So I think from the outside, you definitely come off very outgoing. and very social. But I've definitely seen you in some quieter moments as well. So I'm curious if you feel like you're a little bit of both, or you feel like you lean more towards one or the other.
I recharge as an introvert.
Okay.
So no one ever sees me here when I go home.
Yeah.
When I go home, I go straight to my room and just like don't really want to talk to anybody.
Yep.
Like and it seems almost like I'm rude and I hate my roommates.
Yeah.
It's not it. It's just when I'm out, I'm out and I'm on 100%. You know, I'm going in.
Yeah.
And when I'm at work, same thing. Even though like, because I work on phone calls and doing all that, so like I'm talking to people the whole time. But even with my like team and all that, I'm just like, I love to have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm always on, and when I get home, like, all right, I'm out.
Gotta recharge.
I'll read a book or I'll put on a show or something.
Yeah, music,
yes.
Yeah.
Even in Bart, taking Bart, and you put on that music, you're like, all right, this is what I needed.
Yep.
This is cool.
The commute is like such like quality time with yourself. Like, please don't interrupt my commute.
Yeah, I love that so much. Speaking of Netflix, I was have you ever seen Mad Men? Because that's like your realm.
So okay, I feel like I tried it and I didn't get very far because I didn't watch it, but it was a whole phenomenon.
I love that show. I've watched it twice.
I mean, we're at home. Maybe I'll try it out.
You should. I love it. Seems a bit slow, but you're just like,
you gotta.
It's really cool. Yeah. I like it because it's all about like a guy that makes ads, but he's like, it's really cool in the 50s or whatever.
Yeah.
So I liked it. Anyways, okay, cool. So the friendship thing, usually though, it's pretty natural, right? Usually
I go more for a natural.
Yeah. But your best friend was found
being, what would be the right word? I definitely pursued her.
Yeah. That's fine. I think that's great. I think I don't know. I feel like all my friends has either been because I spend time with them and then I end up like.
And it just naturally.
It just happened.
Have you seen it the other way where you feel like someone has really wanted to be your friend and maybe they just show up places you're at or like ask you to hang out all the time?
I feel like I've been in that situation before.
Have you seen it like play out into like a true friendship? Or?
No, because I kind of found it more annoying than anything else. I'll tell you this.
This is awkward.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Not awkward. I just get annoyed very easily.
Yeah.
I gotta work. I think that might be my 30% that I just
the remaining.
Yeah, because I get annoyed so easily. Like going to the movie theater, if you're eating popcorn loud.
Yeah,
you're done. Like, I'm done. So I don't know. Anyways. We won't talk about that because
you're like I could go down.
I can go. Yeah, road, I can talk about that tangent. For about 2 hours if you want to. Okay, real. Cool. What was gonna ask you. Okay, so talking about your career.
Yeah.
So, what is your job title at the moment?
Yeah, so I am a brand manager.
Can you tell us where?
And I work at Apple.
Nice.
Yeah. I love my job.
Yeah.
I love my job.
That's so good. Do you work like at the actual? Big
they
old
call it the
thing?
Spaceship or Apple. It's called Apple Park, but it's called the Spaceship because of how it looks from above. We have a lot of offices.
Yes, I do.
So that's not my main office, but sometimes I'll go there for meetings.
That's so fire.
Yeah.
I worked at Apple too for about
4
months. I got fired from Apple.
Oh no.
Hey, but I still use your products. I enjoy Apple. I love Apple. I just love being able to have like your phone, your computer, just everything together,
all synced up,
all on the cloud.
It's so good.
I love it.
It's so good.
Apple TV, everything. It's all there, and
it's the whole ecosystem.
It's great. Did you watch the thingy?
The event.
Yeah, yesterday.
WWDC.
Yeah.
Yes. I did watch it. So I'll be honest. I mean, I love Apple, but I've never watched one of those events until I started work. I mean, why would you? No offense. But so I watched it and there's some super cool stuff coming out.
That's fire. I did see like some little things that looks really cool. I really liked it. What exactly can you tell us like what exactly you kind of oversee in regards to that?
So I work in a department called Marcom, Marketing Communications. So we do all of the marketing for Apple. So that is everything from maintaining their what we call owned channels, their .com, their social media channels,
right?
Anything that is like coming from Apple.
Shop by iPhone.
Yeah,
do that?
Yeah. Our department works on that.
That's fire.
And, ads, advertising, packaging, all kinds of things.
Packaging for the actual products?
Yeah, for the product. Wow. So cool.
I like the packaging. I've always been a fan of
it's so much, so much detail and
Yeah.
care, and everything that they do is one of the things I love about working at Apple. It's probably also the thing that'll drive you the most crazy, because you're just like, can we just be done now? And
Yeah.
you're like, but the corners aren't right. And so, but so that's cool.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not I hate the small little detail stuff. Like, even if somebody asked me to paint the room, I'm like, cool, yeah, I'll paint it, get it done fast. But like the little corners, I hate.
Yeah, they're really in the detail,
yeah.
But that's what makes Apple, sure. Right? That's what everyone loves about it. So my job as a brand manager, I work on services, which is super cool.
What does that mean?
So services are, so we have like services and hardware. So hardware is easy, right? It's a physical, tangible thing that you buy and use. Yep. And then services are just...
Apple Care Plus.
Yeah, they're kind of like the
Today at Apple.
Yeah, well, okay, so I guess, let me give examples. So an example of services would be, so my main thing is Apple Card that I work on, or Apple TV.
Can I give you some advice about Apple Card?
What?
I'm just playing.
I was like, what?
That's some advice, some feedback. How come I can't? Oh no, not the Apple Card. Is that the Apple Card that's in your phone? Whenever you get money transferred between each person, is that?
Oh, that's Apple Cash, which I also work on. But
yeah, how come I can't transfer it from that into my actual bank account?
You can. You probably just don't know how, which means I probably need to make you a how-to video, which is also something that we do.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's so fire.
Yeah. So I work on services and I support them. I support all of the teams that make all those assets, advertising and how-to videos and that's packaging. And I just help them stay like organized and know timelines. And I help them understand the goal of what they're creating and ensure that everything that they create stays on that goal, and ensure that all the people who need to see and review and kind of confirm and align what they're creating are seeing it. It's very relationship related.
I love that.
I love my job.
Yeah, I really enjoy, because they fall into leadership, and I love leadership. Yeah. And I think one thing that I learned about leadership is when you understand the mission and the I guess the mission. Yeah. And when you understand the mission, you're able to keep that in mind with what you're doing in your area. Yeah. And then you can keep everybody in your team seeing that, like the mission of it, but in our situation. Yes. How does that fall into this?
I love that. Yes. Yeah. That's exactly what we do. Yeah. Like, what is the goal of this product? Let's make sure everything that we create matches that goal or that vision or that purpose. Right. And so we're kind of that filter. And then when we share it out to other departments, we make sure, like, remember the goal, remember the focus. Exactly. Actually, we got that from you. Don't forget what you told us. We need, so, I absolutely love it. And there's so many smart people, so many interesting jobs. Yeah.
Coming to the Bay, I feel like there's so many smart people here. Yeah. Like, I've never encountered that many smart people. I feel like, man, I should study something just to be able to feel like I can talk with these people.
No.
Okay. So with Apple, you get discounts, don't you?
I do. Shoo. I do. I've hooked a few people up, but yeah.
I'm trying to buy a new laptop because this one is a 2011 or 2012 or 2009, but it's old and it sucks. But enough about that, because I did get it. I wanted to talk to you about how I got fired from Apple.
Okay. Tell the story.
I haven't really told many people about this. I've told a few, but I feel like, you know what, let's just put it out there. Okay. Hopefully my new job isn't seeing this, but it was stupid. I don't know what I was thinking. So I worked in like at the Apple store, helping people find what they need, whatever. I forgot what it's called. Specialist, I think. Yeah. And there were times when you can open up a product for them to try out or whatever, and then when that happens, you would after that, you would put open on floor and put it in this area downstairs, right? Yeah. So one time I was about to start my shift, but I was there early and I was FaceTiming some friends and I had my AirPods. Mm-hmm. And I'm FaceTiming them and then my AirPods die. I'm like, dang, this sucks.
Yeah.
So I don't know what got into me, but I go to the area where the headphones are at and I get some of the wired headphones, like $15.
Yeah.
And I open it up and I use them. And my thinking is like, oh, we open them up all the time for people. We can just kind of right open on the floor and put it downstairs.
Yeah.
We do it all the time.
Like you're borrowing them.
Yeah. And like even some of my managers had told me like, hey, if they want to try it out, you can open up like something and let them try it out.
Yeah.
So I did it, and then after the call, I ended up going back out, getting me like a drink at the store to start off my shift. And then I started my shift. I'm there for like an hour, and then they come to me like, hey, can you go to the office and you talk to you? I'm like, yeah, cool, no worries. I'm like, maybe this is a good thing. I'm going to start like promotion or something. Let's go, or a raise. And then they put me in one of the offices, and it's two people in there, and they're like, hey, where are the headphones? I'm like, wait, what headphones? Like, the headphones you took. I'm like, oh. I was like, yeah, I put them downstairs in the area where they're supposed to go or whatever. Uh-huh. And they're like, oh, did you? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So they tell me to leave, and I guess they're looking at the cameras or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, what the heck? And they call me back in like, yeah, you're not supposed to do that. That's not policy, and we're going to put you on probation. But with pay. So I'm like,
okay,
I bet. Let's do this. Let's go. So I had to leave, give them my badge and all that. So I left, and like 2 weeks later, they're like, hey, we're gonna let you go.
They just didn't call you back. Yeah.
They just called me like, we're letting you go. I'm like, dang, all right. Well,
I feel like those are always learning and growing experiences.
Yeah, it was dumb for me to do that, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything because this is your job, so I'm not gonna say anything else. I love Apple too, but anyways, it was. Yeah. I had fun when I worked there. I met some really cool people that are still friends that I have now.
Yeah.
And Apple, I think it's such a great company with what they have, and even some of the training that they did, which was great. Like the training that we did, it was really cool because they cared more about you.
Yeah.
At the beginning, which I love.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think they're very intentional and thoughtful about everything that they do, not just the packaging, but the people in the trainings.
Yeah.
Which I agree. I don't think every company always takes the care to do that. So I've seen that through my job as well.
So you worked in New York for a bit. Was it with one company, or did you do different work?
No, I bounced
companies?
around.
Okay.
I worked at all ad agencies, but all different ones, and I kind of specialized in digital.
Okay.
So anything that would go online, social.com, any videos that would live online, e-commerce, that kind of stuff. And then eventually I was at an agency and I got laid off.
Right.
And I think this is kind of one of those intuition moments I had, because I knew it was coming for a very long time. But I had a thing that just kind of told me to wait. And so I waited. And during that kind of towards the end, I was interviewing at Apple. So I got laid off, but I didn't have the job at Apple. I was still interviewing. And eventually, clearly, I get the job offer and I make it out here. And my severance was enough money to get me from the moment I was laid off to my first day at Apple, which was about a month and a half.
That's so good.
Yeah. So it was just like the timing was perfect, that it just wasn't a coincidence, right? Yeah. It was just too perfect. One of those where the intuition really paid off for me.
That's fire.
Yeah.
I was, this is the show last week with Brody. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. But, we chat a lot about, like, because he's a financial planner. Yeah. And it was really cool because we had really good conversations about money. And one of the things we talked about was making sure having that cushion of savings for situations that like that. And I think it's so real. Like, for me, I've saved up enough now to, like, if I get fired, I'm good for the next few months, which is definitely, like, and we're talking about how when you have more money, like, it makes you more confident, not like in a big way, but like confident to make changes in your life, or confident to even speak up at work and like, hey, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And not be afraid of getting fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's so good.
It's fire, right?
Yeah.
And so for me,
like security.
Yeah. So for me, I'm like, I have money saved up now. So now I'm like, let's start making some moves and do some things in my life.
Yeah.
And I feel more confident about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
Not because I have money, I can do whatever I want, but it's like I have like a safety net now that I know that I'm going to be good.
Yeah.
But I'm not relying on money. You know what I mean? So
I like that.
A little thing that I want to add in there. So I've chatted with a few ladies on this show, Kiara, Adriana,
mm-hmm.
and I kind of asked them the same question, but I want to ask you, how is it working? I guess would it be considered corporate job? Yeah,
corporate America.
How is it working as a black woman, being black and being a woman
mm-hmm.
in this area? Like, have you encountered any struggles that you've seen, or like that's been really real in your eyes?
Yeah.
And how, maybe if you did, how have you been able to like kind of overcome that or move forward with it?
Yeah. I think that's a great question, and I'll definitely say my kind of upbringing and background kind of prepared me for that world. Right. Growing up in the Midwest, I was often one of the only or few black females, black woman.
Yeah.
And so I already kind of learned how to navigate that world a bit in high school and in college. Right. So I came a bit armed with that. But I will say it does make a difference.
Yeah.
It makes a difference in your experience. And I definitely think I was in a lot of scenarios where I felt different, where I felt othered. Like, we're here and you're there.
Right,
you don't fit in here.
Wow.
I think that I have like good work experience and a good skill set, and so that's always served me. Right. That I couldn't be pushed aside or treated too differently, because that wouldn't have matched my work experience, if that makes sense. So if I'm performing well, it's hard for you to then treat me as if I don't.
Right.
And so I think that was always a counterbalance for me.
Okay.
But I would definitely say, you know, I've been very vocal about like microaggressions. That's a huge thing. I mean, not just in the workplace, but especially in the workplace.
Right. Let's chat about that, because when I heard you speak a while back, well, not a while back, like 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah. You're telling us a bit of your story and all that, and you brought up microaggressions. I never heard of that before, and so I would love to understand a bit more, and maybe if those that are listening can understand what microaggressions actually means. Yeah.
So microaggressions are these actions or comments, and they're often really small.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're intentional or not intentional, but they show a prejudice against a certain minority group, or a person who's within that minority group. And again, it kind of goes with that theme of othering, or just making you feel like you don't fit in, or you're strange, or you're wrong, or you're awkward, you know, whatever it is. And, you know, I think I was like reading about them, and they were saying like they feel like little cuts, like just little, because they're so frequent, they're every day, they're so small, sometimes they're not even noticeable, and you know, people push them aside as like, oh, a joke, or oh, I didn't even really mean that, and they're so small that they're easy to like push aside. And sometimes they're so small it's hard for you to point it out. Like sometimes it's just the tone of your voice, the way that you said that, like, oh, Amber, you look nice today. Or, oh, Amber, you actually look nice today.
Oh, wow.
That's a completely different way of saying the exact same thing.
True.
And so sometimes it's like that nuance. How do you describe that to someone who's not there? Or even to the person you're talking to? Because it's just me and you were there. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. I said you look nice. What do you mean I was rude? You know? And so it's
they get defensive.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to defend yourself if you're already a person who doesn't fit in. or maybe you're junior and they're senior, who are they going to listen to?
True. Wow, that's so real.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because if I were to do that to somebody and they told me that, I would be like, wow, I didn't notice that. But I feel like, but I can say that now, but maybe in the moment you get embarrassed or whatever. Do you think it's okay to maybe, I don't know. I think it needs to be done though. It needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's happened too many times where it doesn't get addressed, but then it's like, well, are we too afraid to hurt someone's feelings that we don't want to address it?
Yeah. I think it's really hard.
Yeah.
Because
same.
Those things, make the difference between having and not having a job.
Right.
And if you've made someone feel threatened and they have some type of power over you,
yep.
That could put you in a really bad situation. If you don't have that financial backing, you're super new at your job, you're not making a ton of money, you're new in your career, you don't want to jeopardize, the skill set you need to learn, the credibility you get from working at that company or on that account, that recommendation you need to, move to the next job or go to grad school or whatever you need. And so it's honestly a really scary place to be.
Sure.
To call someone out and say that, hey, what you said was, a microaggression, or it didn't make me feel good, or it was prejudice. And all those words are very triggering for people. No one wants to be called prejudice. Yep. No one wants to be called racist.
Yep.
No one wants to be told that they were rude. And if you're in a position of power and you're also in a position where no one's ever held you accountable to those types of things, then you're offended 100%. And then you're threatened. Yep. And then you're saying you have a bad attitude. Again, that's another microaggression. You don't fit the culture anymore. And so we have to put you on a performance review, and then we have to get rid of you. So
real.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
I feel like Apple has a very good culture in regards to that.
Yeah.
I thought they do. But anyways, I feel like that goes into a leadership thing that I learned at a very young age. What I didn't even notice I learned it, but there were times when I would get in trouble by somebody and they would call me out in front of people or call me out right then and there. Mm-hmm. And I get embarrassed. Yeah. I get mad. I get triggered. I'm like, and I say something that I probably shouldn't say, or I say something like really mean. And from there, I realized, yo, this friggin' sucks to get called out in front of people or in the heat of it all. Yeah. And then when that happens, I lash back because the only thing I know what to do is to do that because that's all I have right now. You know what I mean? And so one thing I made my mind up to do always is if I ever feel like somebody has offended me or I ever feel like I need to talk to somebody, I'm going to wait and I want to say, hey, can we chat really quick another time and bring it up to them then after I've cooled down and after they maybe have not even think about it. Yeah. And I think maybe that would be another good way to try to bring it up to people whenever they do that. Because I think for me, if someone were to ever say like, I don't know. If someone were to ever say anything to me that's I feel a bit disrespected or anything like that, I probably wouldn't tell them right then and there because it's just going to cause a bigger fuss and a bigger fight than what I have to. Yeah. But I will maybe be like, hey, let's chat, or text them after that. I'm like, hey, do you want to chat another time? And then don't tell them what it's about. And then be like, hey, actually this, and this. Yeah. What do you think about that? Would that work? Or would that...
I definitely agree that, I can look back and say there were many situations where I never said anything because I was afraid of retribution or, having it penalize me in some type of way. I think, for me, I would definitely want to have a conversation with someone. Yeah. If it was someone that I felt comfortable talking to, maybe I would pull that specific person aside and talk to them right away. If I felt like I needed advice, I might go to someone, that I would call an ally or just someone who really understood the culture or that person better than I did to help talk about the right way to approach it. I think a lot of times people don't feel like they can speak to that person or even have an ally.
That's so real.
And I would first ask you, like, is this an environment that you even want to continue to be in? Yeah. I would think not, but there has to be some way to address it for sure. And I think looking back and in the position that I'm in now, even just thinking of a work environment, I'm in a culture and an environment where I feel supported in speaking about those things.
Right.
Which is what I mean when I'm saying, like, if you're not in an environment where you wouldn't be supported, then it's probably not an environment for you, a place you want to be.
That's real.
But I definitely think I'm at the point now where I would definitely address it.
Yeah.
I might get some support or some allies or some advice on the right way to handle it.
Right.
If I didn't feel comfortable going in and doing it directly. And if you're someone who's super junior, you might not be.
Yeah, true.
But I definitely agree it's worth addressing.
For sure.
And with that person.
And I feel like a lot of companies are moving that way, or maybe tech companies that I see that are just like all about the people.
Yeah.
Of their company. Of course, the people that are buying the product or whatever it is, but
yeah,
a lot of companies are caring more about the actual people that are working, or that I've been encountered with.
Yeah.
And I think that's so good, because I think that's what leadership is. It's like if my employees are doing well and they feel like they can speak up, like they feel that they're empowered, everything else that's going to follow is going to be great.
Yeah, and I think also hiring is expensive.
Yeah.
So if you can just take care of the people that you have,
and
create an environment and a culture that supports them and grows them and, you know, all of these things, then you keep these people longer and you don't have to hire every 2 years. It's a benefit of everyone, not just like morally being a good person or running a good quality business. But it also impacts your bottom line. So as a business owner or manager, you should think about it from that way as well.
Yeah, that's so real. There's microaggressions. I wanted to, because I have some friends that are black, and when I lived with them in college, like he would always kind of like joke around about like different racial stuff, like for black people. Yeah. So I was around it. I'm like, he's joking around with me about this. Is that okay? And then so maybe, I don't know if you have, but if your friends have ever like joked around about that with you, is it different, or like maybe even now would it be different, or would it be kind of okay for you, or what do you think about that?
I definitely think it depends on who I'm talking to. True. So if I'm with my black friends and I'm making a joke about something, they could totally joke back with me. So like, for example, you know, it's summer, I'm in the sun, I'm getting darker, and I'm like, ooh, girl, I'm getting black. Like, I'm so dark. Yeah. You know, and they're like, yeah, girl, I see you. You are getting so dark. That's totally fine. Right. But for example, I was hanging out with someone else and it was a white guy. And he was like, yeah, you're so black, I couldn't see you if the lights were off. Like, that's terrible. That just doesn't feel good to anybody, does it? Like, that's just not, you know. For sure. So if I'm like sharing that with you, I think that means like I'm at a level of comfort with you that I can joke around. Right. But I think you would definitely need to tread lightly if you weren't another black person and you're kind of making jokes about those types of things.
I feel that. No, for sure.
For sure.
I want to get your take on that, because I haven't actually asked my friend about that. I probably should, but he's in Austin. He actually worked for Google. Okay. Yeah, killing it.
Tech all around.
Yeah, seriously. He did college with me in Australia, and now he's just killing it in Austin. Hey. He was from LA, but anyways. What were we talking about?
Microaggressions, work.
Yeah.
Culture.
So in light of like what's just going on, with, you know, the protest, and with a lot of people speaking out about racism and all that, I've never actually like been around it when it's been this strong about like chatting about this and like bringing up the issues that are happening and all that. And so like, I don't know if it's because social media is a lot bigger now. Yeah. But do you think that this is maybe a turning point, that we're starting to move forward? Like, if we continue on this road of talking about it, of bringing it up on social media, of, you know, going out and protesting and all that, do you think that this is a turning point, or do you think it's maybe all talk until we keep doing it longer, or we won't really know until like maybe if it continues longer, or what are your thoughts on that?
to be honest, I'm hopeful, but I'm skeptical.
Right.
I think that this is a really great eye-opening moment, and I love the momentum, but I think there's still a lot of work to be done. Even just at the start with when you think about just educating and understanding,
right.
It's one thing to kind of like see it and read about it, but do you like really understand it? Can you be so self-aware that if someone said something to you, you'd be able to take that feedback? Would you be able to look at yourself and be like, I've done these things before, and not to like shame you or make you feel bad, but just to progress and to grow. And I think like that is a ton of work in and of itself, just to like learn and self-evaluate, let alone then try to go out into the world and enact change.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I'm hopeful. I love that, you know, people are really seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
But I think there's even a lot of work to be done to be able to go out and make a change.
Right.
There's a lot of clarity. Like someone was saying, you know, to be anti-racist isn't the same as being just like a kind, nice person, right? Like you can't just be like, okay, like when I see the black people on the street, I'm just going to wave hello.
Yeah.
And like, that's really going to like,
yeah,
you know, I'm not going to be racist anymore if I do that. That's not the same.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure people really understand that. So that goes into this idea of like education and just really understanding the issue and what it takes to change it. And then going out and doing that change, voting for different people, calling people out, changing policy in your office, you know, calling out your peers, calling out yourself.
I was going to ask you about that actually. How would you feel, let's say someone made like a microaggression towards you.
Yeah.
And I was there and I say, hey, that's actually not cool. Would that be okay?
That would be dope.
That'd be fire, right?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because it takes the pressure off of me. I have to be the only one that's, I think everyone in the room should be aware. I think if something racist is being said, everyone should feel really uncomfortable, not just me. And everyone should feel so uncomfortable that they're like, look, bro, that's not cool. Like you gotta chill on that. I'm gonna need you to look up why that's not okay. Or actually, I know the facts. Let me tell you why, you know, this isn't okay. I think that would be so dope.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's really, I'm definitely gonna try to look out for that.
Yeah.
It's I guess for me, it's like I need to be on and make sure that I'm on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the other thing is the words of Michael Jackson. He says, if you wanna see a change, or what is it? Look in the mirror. God, what is that?
I feel like you're putting like a couple of songs together.
Anyways, the change starts with me. You know what I mean? That's basically what I'm trying to say is like we can't do everything.
Yeah.
But we can do something.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like I'm trying. I've talked with Toby. He's been a great resource for myself.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great.
Yeah.
And so, you know, reading, but also having conversations.
Yeah.
And I think it's been helpful for myself to learn more about this. And
I'd also say like I hate the idea of shaming people and making people feel bad. Like I don't want you to be a part of this change in this movement because you feel shame or you feel like you're obligated. And I also feel like even if you're in a position where you're trying, but you're not catching everything, or maybe you didn't have all of the courage in the moment to say, or had all the words to explain why, like, I don't think you should feel bad about that either, because me as someone who feels very aware of what's going on sometimes doesn't even have the courage to say like, hey, that's not okay. And so we're all making strides and making progress. And I think that's a huge thing that can be acknowledged as well.
I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful.
Yeah, me too.
I want to ask you one more thing, just about how do you think, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but this is a random question I thought about. How do you think the churches are doing with this whole situation?
I think that it's very interesting. And I have even been educated about the role of Christianity and all of this, and how a lot of times it's been weaponized to manipulate people into what they should want them to do, not what they should be doing, what they want them to do. And so I'm very surprised to see how much the church is mobilizing and having conversations about it. And I think that they're being very, what's the right word? Like progressive in it. And I think that's great. I've seen courses and classes. I've seen sermons. Like having really hard conversations. This is not a light touch. They're not just touching the surface, right? Surface. They're going super deep. And so again, I'm super encouraged by it.
Same. Yeah.
And I hope that, and I think that's kind of overall what I've seen is that some of these newer, more progressive churches are being the leaders in that.
Yeah.
And so I hope that honestly it trickles down into some of these really local, Midwestern, Southern, it's got to go all the way down, because I love these big churches that have this big impact, and I think that's great as well. But some of those smaller local churches have to be able to have the conversation
too. Honest, some of those smaller ones will have a bigger impact on the people that have the impact sometimes too.
Yeah, because it's a generational thing as well. I think, our generation and Gen Z are maybe a bit more open to having some of those. I mean,
they're killing it.
They're about that life.
They're killing it. And I was listening. Do you ever listen to Gary Vee?
Yeah.
I was listening to his podcast. And man, I keep talking about him a lot because I've listened to him a lot more. But he interviewed a girl that she's Gen Z and she started her own business and she's killing it. And just hearing all these facts that Gen Z, they're killing it, and I feel like they're making so many bigger strides.
World changers.
Yeah, they're world changers, and I love it. And I'm excited to see what they do. And I'm stoked to see what happens with them. But anyway,
no, I agree, and I hope that we can take kind of a note from that. I think millennials are kind of in this place now where they're like, oh, I got kids, I got mortgages, I got, responsibilities. And so, maybe we like to play it safe a little bit more. But I hope that we're really inspired by that generation, because they are like, this is probably not the right word, but like reckless in the best way possible. Like they're just kind of like all stops. I believe in this. And so I'm going hard in this area, and you can't tell me anything different. And I love that passion.
They're not afraid to have conversations with their parents.
Yes. Oh, I've seen some videos and she's like, you are wrong. Let me tell. And here's the thing though. They're smart. They got the facts. Yeah. It's not just like, just saying it for the sake of it. I mean, they have the facts. They're calling people out, and they're really about it. And I find it very inspirational.
Same. Yeah. I just going back to what I asked you about the churches. I love that what we did the other day where we actually had a class for DNA where they taught us a lot of like the microaggressions and things like that. And I thought that was amazing.
Huge.
That's probably one of the best DNAs that I've been to, and I'm like, man, this is so good for us to be learning. I loved it,
and just like super proactive about it. Like, who are the people we have that are experts here? How can we educate our congregation?
That's great. I love it. Last thing I want to ask you: are you reading any books? Do you recommend any books for us? Just not even like about any, just that you've been enjoying or reading.
Yeah, well, I've been reading this book. I love the library. And
like the actual library,
nice. But now they're digital libraries, so you can borrow a book just on your phone. It can be audio or an ebook. And so I read half of this book and then it expired, so I'm waiting for it to come back. I was moving through it really slow. But there's this book called Homegoing, and it's a story of these two girls who are stepsisters, and they're born in Ghana. And I don't even know when it starts, but it's really way back in the past, and it tells their story from then to now. So it's interesting because one sister starts is like stolen from her home, and she's turned into a slave, and she's eventually, her generations are taken to America, and so you see the whole story of her whole lineage. And then one woman is actually married to like a slaver, and so she has mixed children. And just the story and like what that looks like. So it's interesting to see this parallel of like two women who essentially started in the same place, but their stories and how the generations kind of go are very different.
Is it a true story?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
But maybe it's kind of like historical fiction potentially, but it's super interesting.
What's it called?
Homegoing.
Cool.
It's really good. Super interesting for sure. But it's also a little heavy sometimes, which I think is why it expired and I have to pick it back up.
That's fair.
So, but I definitely recommend it. It's been super good so far.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Have I been reading anything else? I've been reading Boundaries in Dating and Relationship Goals.
You're getting ready. Ready.
I mean, why not?
Why not?
I feel like you should read about anything that you're interested in and want to do better in.
Very true.
Anything, coding, relationships, fashion, whatever it is.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Follow and subscribe. If you need a job at Apple, hit up Amber. She'll connect you. If you need a discount, hit her up. She'll get you. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, this has been great.
I really enjoyed it. I really had good conversations. It's been fun. We'll get you on again.
Yeah.
A year from now and see where you're at.
Let's
see what's going on.
do it.
But I
ask the same
it.
question. See if the answers are the same.
Maybe by then you'll be married.
Who knows? Boot up.
That's a great song. Cool. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. See you.